Throughout history, there have been many different execution methods used to take the life of a condemned person. There were different innovations made over the centuries to bring the life of someone to a quicker and cleaner end. During the medieval period, there was a brutal element to executions, in which crowds wanted to see a bloody and barbaric end for a prisoner, and methods such as hanging, drawing and quartering were very popular, as thousands of people flocked to see the proceedings. Inside of France, people were upset when the guillotine was brought into use, due to the fact it offered a cleaner and more clinical execution, with the head of someone being taken off very quickly, and the crowds actually missed using methods such as a breaking wheel. But one rather controversial recent execution method, which was recently brought into use, is nitrogen hypoxia. This isn't a video on the debate as to whether this is an inhumane method of capital punishment. It is purely an educational documentary providing information about the method. Welcome to the Fortress. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. Kenneth Eugene Smith became the first inmate to die using the controversial and untested method of execution in 2024, known as nitrogen hypoxia. He was a murderer who was convicted in 1988 for killing the wife of a pastor or a priest, being involved in the murder for hire scheme. He had been imprisoned inside of Alabama for many years. Smith had already been scheduled for execution and was to be executed using lethal injection, but this method did not go very well and he survived his execution. On the 10th of January 2024, a federal judge ruled that Alabama could use nitrogen gas to carry out the execution of Smith. This method was untested, and there were concerns by the United Nations that the use of the gas could lead to a cruel and inhumane and degrading treatment and even torture. Others argued that it was unconstitutional, but despite appealing this, Smith's final appeal was waved off and rejected, and his death sentence was to be carried out on the 25th of January 2024. He was provided with a last meal, selecting steak, hash browns and eggs, which he received 8 hours before his death. Smith was also allowed a final visit from his wife and his sons. It was stated by a priest that Smith himself was at peace with his impending execution, despite the controversy of the method. Now, execution using nitrogen hypoxia was authorized in Alabama in 2018, and Oklahoma and Mississippi also had the execution method in place. Nitrogen is an odorless and tasteless gas, but the gas does not support respiration and it displaces oxygen when inhaled in the lungs. It does not allow for carbon dioxide to leave the body. The point of this execution method is that nitrogen will replace the air and oxygen in the body and would leave a condemned person to lose consciousness and then die through a lack of oxygen. The gas is administered using a mask that is strapped over the face of the condemned. Inside of Holloman Prison, there was a lot of debate about how to carry out the execution of Smith, and regular meetings were held to train the staff to make sure that the mask had a seal to ensure that the execution went well. Smith was brought into the chamber before 8 p.m. and he was strapped to the gurney. The warden read out the death sentence and asked Smith for his final words. It was believed that the execution method would lead to the heart stopping inside of 5 minutes, and that within a few seconds Smith would be knocked out, but this did not happen. In total, the execution method took 22 minutes, and Smith seemed conscious for a number of minutes. He shook and writhed around on the gurney and pulled at the restraints before he stopped breathing. Specifically at 7:53 p.m. the curtains in the witness room were opened, and Smith was seen wearing the full face mask, and a plastic tube came out of a hole in the wall of the chamber. He signed "I love you," and then gave the OK symbol. His final words allegedly were, "Tonight Alabama caused humanity to take a step backwards. I love all of you. Thank you for supporting me. I love all of you." He was attended on by a priest, and then the seal of the mask was checked and the nitrogen was turned on. He continued to struggle for a number of minutes, and his body shook violently and his eyes rolled into the back of his head. The sight even reduced the priest to tears. At 8:02 p.m. Smith seemed to lose consciousness and his chest remained still for 20 seconds. 4 minutes later his breathing slowed down and his final breath was taken at 8:07 p.m. 8 minutes later the curtains to the witness room were closed. It was said that nitrogen flowed for a total of 15 minutes. The execution of Kenneth Smith was one which was hugely controversial, and it is believed that the gas should have brought his life to a quicker and swifter end, and that he should not necessarily have suffered for as long as he did. He was not rendered unconscious in a quick manner. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.